Everyone. I promised a video about non-tech case for AI coding, and here it is, as much as is possible, of course. Today we are going to make something viable out of Lovable. The most common problem non-tech people talk about when code with AI that they noticed how the capability to get a working feature degrades with the size of the project. Actually, exactly the same happens with the human coders. And there is a simple solution that works for both AI and humans. Just put things related to the different parts of the problem domain into the separate folders. Then split huge components into small ones. With Lovable, it is almost simple as write about it. And this is awesome, but as always it is easier to say than done. So let's first understand how it works in a language that everyone understands. Look at what happens without it and how to spot the problem. Third, see the difference. And fourth, get some action plan. Okay, rolling baby. First of all, what is the problem domain and what are its parts? It is easy to summarize your idea with list of nouns. Let's say we are developing a time tracker app. So the core nouns and notions will be project management, user roles, task management, and time tracker itself. The second point, why exactly the program developed by AI model degrades? I will try 2 times to explain it here. First try, semi-scientific, I hope for excuse from those who knows, but I need to keep it simple.
When you give a prompt to an AI, it doesn't read words like we do. Instead, it turns each word into a long column of numbers. Imagine each word as a vertical tube filled with thousands of tiny grains of sand, each one representing a different aspect of its meaning. Then, a series of complex mathematical operations like mixing and layering all those sand columns happens between your prompt and LLM's trained model, a giant multi-layered system. These computations are extremely heavy and need a lot of compute power and processing power. Computer memory and processing power is a kind of a financial limit. And here it gets interesting and messy. Deep inside those layers, the model starts forming patterns, not clear, clean ideas, but dense, blurry clouds of colored sand. Think of them as fuzzy notions of fragments of meanings swirling together. Okay, the model keeps transforming these clouds with more operation until eventually it forces them back through a kind of mathematical sieve, which tries to extract specific colored columns of sand representing the next part of your answer.
And why it is bad for you? We have a limited number of sand grain, computer resources, to form multiple clouds in mentioned swirls a precise way. The more notions in your prompt are, the more mixed and overlapping those colored clouds become as a result. And the way they are sifted back into words, the output might contain quite a few stray grains from wrong colors, representing the ideas that don't quite fit or feel slightly off. And when we are talking about the code that intrinsically requires precision, it is the point when things break. I hoped I depicted the problem of resource limits beyond the math. Let me try to explain it the second time. Better to look what happens on some literally imaginary example. This is my try to draw a picture for one of Allmeans products. When we draw only one notion with few satellite notions, we get extremely well made picture, almost as if it's made by a human. You see it like big resolution, it's quite good. When we try to add more notions there, we get a distorted picture of zero value. You see it. I believe you may literally see the grains of sand that are literally off. So, in terms of code, it means broken application or inability by an underlying agent to write or improve a feature. Knowing that, let's try to code a time tracking app with Lovable. To record this video, I've listened to some Lovable advice in the internet and tried to provide a prompt to test the whole thing following these advices. I know that it's possible to provide more optimal prompt, but my idea here is only to get to the problem and show it. I won't read the whole prompt, you can see it here, you can pause the video, let it be. It is a time tracking app, described with some best practice advice for Lovable. I've got something, it looks really lovable from outside. I tinkered a bit to make it working and dived inside to show you root cause of the future problem, and to be honest, already ongoing. To keep it short, let's focus just on the dashboard component. If you want to make sense out of Lovable, you need to be able to open source code and find components. Most likely it will be in the components directory with the name it expects to be named from your conversation with Lovable. Small hint, it loves to create dashboard component from the main screen of your product. So how to do it? Click here, here is dashboard. What we should see here is that all units of your UI, all visible blocks you clearly see on the screen, are presented as a huge, big bunch of primitives. And when an underlying agent will try to do something with one part of this thing, it will have to deal with the whole mess you see. All of these primitives will take precious grains of sand of computations to form notions or patterns that it needs not to use for sake, but here they are used to just analyze and skip. No wonder with the time your application degrades when more and more components like this needs to be handled by AI. Actually, this often happens with human coders too. Because I don't know about you, I as a programmer with some experience hardly can make sense out of it from the first glance. Let's change the rules of the game. Let's fix the story. How to? First of all, I'm asking it about as few things as possible. Second, I describe only domain parts. Anyway, it will implement nothing for you, just visual prototype from the first prompt. Third, my main prompt block is about asking for proper code structure. And here is the key ingredient. I'm telling it about this structure. First, components related to different parts of domain should be located in appropriate folders. Second, all actions that components perform should be located in files nearby with control suffix. Third, client-side business logic should be located in the models folder near the components folder and also separated by subfolders for different parts of the domain model. Then I'm asking it to focus only on dashboard component as first example. Spoiler, it won't work in this case. And finally, I'm asking it about examples for described code structure, because it will be the source of make S for the future prompts. So the prompt is here. I will pause for a while for you to be able to kind of screen it or whatever. Actually, you can ask me in comments. I can share it, no problems. Of course, after first prompt, we find the dashboard component looking like this. Here is dashboard component. Despite all my efforts, it keeps it quite the same. Actually, it's not a problem, because on the other hand, the seeds of the common sense sown, and we see it around when we compare folder structure of both projects. So you see this component split by domain notions, model folders here. So it's much better already. After some after fixes, I insisted on project structure. I asked, rework dashboard component cores using the components located in components folder from appropriate domain model related subfolders. Actually, it hasn't fully helped. In my case, it just split components into multiple ones and put all of them into one folder. So the final prompt was required. Distribute components from dashboard folder to respective domain folders. For example, components related to tasks into task folder. Actually, you can see it here. So, for example, things related to tasks, things related to projects. We get dashboard component like this. And even you can see the references to the components that describes the blocks you saw on the screen. Now you can ask Lovable to do something with a particular component, and your project will degrade with much slower speed, because it will deal with less on every step, not only because of your precise prompt, but also because of precise things that it puts to the AI alongside your prompt at the same time. So here is active project component from this picture. Every block separated in a specific file. So with much less hassle for AI to do something with it. Long story short, if you want your AI-based dev project degrade slower, make sure your vibe coding tool puts every block you see in a separate file. See you! Thank you for watching this video. Like, ask for more, ask questions, ask for specific topic for me to tell about. See you next time.